Hello and welcome to the Urban Survivor channel, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at the newest keychain flashlights from RovyVon, including the upgraded Gen 3 version of the Aurora series and some of the new models from the Angel Eyes series. And for those of you who aren't familiar with these lights, they're some of the most feature-rich and high-performing keychain lights on the market. Now there is a lot to cover in this video because there are a handful of different body types and primary and auxiliary emitter options, but I'm going to do my best to cover all the options and present them in a way that's as clear and concise as possible so you can see what's out there and hopefully decide which one is best for you. We're going to start off with the Aurora series, and the four that I have here are the A1, which is the most basic model with a polyamide body, the A5 and the A7, which have a luminous body that will glow after they're exposed to light. The A5 has a green glow-in-the-dark body and the A7 has a blue glow-in-the-dark body, and they do glow best when they're exposed to UV light, but you can also get them to glow by using their auxiliary emitters or any other source of light, and they will typically glow for a few minutes. There's also the A8, which has a transparent body and the best selection of auxiliary emitters, which we'll touch on shortly, and I don't have them here, but you can also pick up the Aurora in stainless steel and titanium. These lights weigh in right around 18 grams or 0.6 ounces, and they're just under 2.5 inches long. As I mentioned earlier, this is the third generation of the Aurora series, and the most notable upgrade, and something that many people including myself have been asking for, is the upgrade from micro USB to USB-C charging. The charging port is protected by a rubber cover, and now the light can charge in about an hour, and it also supports C2C, and there's a metal switch on the side which controls the different output modes. There are a few primary emitter options, including the Cree XBG3, which is available in 6500K cool white with a max output of 650 lumens, the luminous SSD20, which also has a 6500K color temperature and a 650 lumen output, and that's available on the A5, the A7, and the A8, and this is going to be a bit throwier than the other options. And finally, the Nichia 219C, which is the neutral 5000K high CRI version, and that's available on all of these lights. Here's a look at how these lights compare on their turbo modes, and overall the performance is pretty similar, and no matter which emitter you go with, the performance is really incredible for a light this size. But one thing to keep in mind is that the output is going to step down significantly over the course of about a minute to about 80 lumens, where it will run for about another hour and a half. Here you can more easily see how the emitters compare, and on the left we've got the Cree, in the center the luminous, and on the right the Nichia. You can see with the Cree that there's more of a blue tint and the colors are a bit more washed out. The luminous is better, but it's still a bit discolored. And with the Nichia, the color rendering is best and the objects are appearing closest to their natural color. There's a handful of other outputs, including a strobe, medium mode, and a low mode, which is one of the most stable, and will have a 25 lumen output with the cool emitters and about a 20 lumen output with the neutral emitters, and a runtime of about 8 hours, and a moonlight mode which has a 0.5 lumen output and a max runtime of 72 hours. And this is going to be the best option if you want to conserve your battery life. One of the most innovative and exciting features, and the reason I prefer the RovyVons with transparent bodies, including the A5, the A7, and the A8, over the other non-transparent versions, are the row of auxiliary emitters. The A5 currently has two different variations available, including the white light, which provides a very nicely diffused light that's ideal for hands-free use, and allows the light to function as a mini lantern. And this can be combined with either a red light, which is really useful for night vision preservation and signaling, or a UV light, which is primarily useful for charging the luminous body. The A7 only comes with the white and UV auxiliary option at the moment. The A8 comes in a UV red and white version, and also there's an amber red and blue version. The auxiliary modes are definitely some of my favorites and not something that you see on too many other keychain lights on the market. Real quick, if you're enjoying this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and if you've got a friend that needs a new keychain flashlight, go ahead and share this video with them. Alright, so now we're going to look at the Angel Eye lights, and the versions on my desk are the E1, which is the base model, the E5, which has a green glow-in-the-dark body, the E7, which has a blue glow-in-the-dark body, and the E8, which again has some different auxiliary emitter options. They weigh in at about 40 grams or 1.43 ounces, including batteries, and they're just under 2 3/4 inches long and a little over 1 inch wide. The Angel Eyes also have USB-C charging, and these have two different side switches which allow you to change modes and cycle between the built-in and replaceable battery. There's a small latch on the side that opens up and allows you to rotate the head so you can swap in and out a AAA battery. There is also a variety of emitter options with the Angel Eye series, including dual white SSD20 with a 6500K color temperature, which combine for a max output of 700 lumens, or dual warm white 4000K SSD20 emitters, which have a really high CRI that's greater than 95, and a max output of around 500 lumens. Here's a look at how they compare side by side, and the output is pretty impressive on both, but the cool version does have a slightly higher output, but for me personally, the warm version is much more pleasant to look at. Here's a quick look at how the Angel Eye compares to the Aurora, and here they're both running the SSD20s, and the output is significantly higher on the Angel Eyes, and the hotspot is larger too. In addition to turbo, there's also a strobe and a medium mode, which for me would probably be the most practical mode, and it has a 100 lumen output and a 1.5 hour runtime in cool white, or a 70 lumen output and a 1.8 hour runtime with the warm light. There's also a low mode and a moonlight mode that will give you a max runtime of about 54 hours with the built-in battery. The auxiliary emitter combinations are a little different compared to the Aurora series, and the E5 and E7 both have a warm white emitter, and again the option of red or UV. The E8's auxiliary emitters are located on the side of the light rather than through a transparent window in the center of the light, and it has the option of a much better 365 nm UV light, which can actually be used to read banknotes, and can also be picked up with 2 red lights or a combination of red and blue. There are a few downsides to these lights, which I think are important to keep in mind, and I want to do my best to give you guys as much information as possible so you can make an informed decision before purchasing these lights. All of these lights do have built-in batteries, and while they are convenient, they cannot be replaced, so the light will only be useful as long as the battery lasts, and typically the max life of a LiPo battery is around 300 charges. Also, the charging port cover on this light is relatively flimsy and can break relatively easily, so you need to be really careful, otherwise if you lose it, the light's water and dust resistance is going to suffer. Aside from these factors, I really think these are excellent lights with a lot to offer, and they start at around $27 and go up to about $60 depending on which model you get. And if you want to pick up any of these lights, I am carrying most of these variants in my store, which will be linked to down in the description below, and you can also use the coupon code US10 and save 10% off your order. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to smash the like button if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this one.